folks, welcome to the Mediocre Cover Band Guitar Guy Sunday afternoon edition. How's everybody doing? Hope we're all well. So I want to start off by the usual thank yous to everybody supporting my channel. We're up to like 8,000 views on the Bedroom Guitar Player, which is cool. Seems like it's the only video I got now. So keep helping the channel by subscribing if you like. If you don't, I'm still going to keep doing these videos because I got nothing better to do with my little bit of free time. So today I'm going to talk about bitter guitar players / musicians, and they come in all shapes and sizes. Notably, 3 that I can think of right now, and I'll probably come up with more as I rant away. So your first bitter guitar player would be somebody like me. Somebody who's been in the scene for a long while and has seen a lot of shit go down. None of it good. Some good, but like the shit that sort of makes you bitter is not good. And some of it, for instance, I keep talking about it, I know, is pay. And I'm not all about money. Like people are like, oh, you're only doing this for money. I'm about equal pay for everybody. Not just me, everybody. Because I want to create a healthy scene. So I've seen people come in and take big pay cuts, offer to take the big pay cuts. I'm talking huge pay cuts to the point of even saying they'll do it for free, okay? Which is not good. Also, the shit talking, going into somewhere and saying this band is this band is that, nobody wants to hire this band. Shit talking to people who are trying to hire for a private event. This band is this band is that, this artist, this person, this solo person, bitter. Then, the changing of, we're finally gone back a little bit, but the changing of the times that venues have their live music. So once upon a time when I started out, we played primarily 9 at night till 1 in the morning. Always made it easier to hit the 2 a.m. pizza places or something like that. Now you're stuck with McDonald's because they're 24/7. They stopped cooking like regular food around 3:45 because for some reason people eat breakfast at 4 a.m. Like, fuck. Anyway, then there's that. It became 11 to 3 a.m. So you're getting home 4 o'clock the next morning, 4:30, after you play a gig that might be a little bit out of your town. Like you might be a half hour away, but then you got to tear down. Like venues that I don't know what it's like anywhere else. I don't have a big followership in Canada where I'm from, oddly enough. United States of America and the UK seem to have embraced my mediocrity, and that's fucking awesome. But anyway, I don't know what it's like in your areas, but here we do 11 at night till 3 in the morning for the most part in a lot of places. I think at the end of it for us, we were doing 10 to 2, and we thought that was, great, So just bitter in that sense, just getting bitter because we're getting older, and the negative changes in the scene are there. The shift in the 90s, early 90s, late 80s, cover bands were doing really well. I wasn't playing in cover bands then, I was doing like a lot of original shit. In bands. And then in the 90s decided that maybe it might be fun to do some covers, and did it with some friends from my job at the time. And it wasn't all great, but it was a lot of fun. And then I got paid at the end of the gig, and it was great. So we're looking at that. Then there's those musicians that are playing original music that are busting their asses. They're constantly thinking about songs, constantly thinking about lyrics, constantly putting work in, fine-tuning shit. These are serious people that do it, okay? Right for themselves. And want to take it to a next level and can't because, once again, it's frustrating. If people don't know it, and this is the double-edged sword with cover bands and stuff, people look down on a lot of cover band things, but yet if you put out a record with songs that you wrote, they're like, well, I never heard these before, and we've talked about that before in the video where I did Can't Have Nice Things. Okay, so anyway, there's that whole bitterness about you're busting your ass, doing everything right, you're writing the songs, you're pumping the streets, looking for gigs, looking for radio play, you can't get it, you're bitter. I get it. I would be too, and I can't begrudge anybody for being a little bit bitter, pissed off, or whatever. You know, it's got to be rough. Putting yourself out there like that and putting words that you wrote, thoughts that you had, things, stories that you put together, and like, and get nowhere. Being, and I've always said, you know, especially here, you'll hear no more than you'll hear yes. Then there's the other bitter musician who basically lost their gigs because whether it's their band being totally not great, um, and they were able to successfully get into like great venues, and then all of a sudden got fired. And I'll give you an example, a perfect example of that. And they're either no longer playing or their band can no longer get picked up. Um, they become bitter and they start ragging on other people's social media, ragging on other people's gigs, ragging on other people. And they're damaging in some cases because for people who don't know, and they don't know the people that they're, ragging on, they kind of um, buy into it. They buy that negative hype and believe that, okay, well, they mustn't be very good or whatever. And like I said, I'm going to give you an example in a minute. Um, they get kicked out of their band or whatever. And I'm going to give you an example of a person who's really been riding my ass here lately, uh, who fits both of those descriptions, and it's why they're bitter. um, and it's negative and it's dangerous. And then you get the bitter guys who play in bands, but they're how can I phrase it? Not exceptional musicians. They're not bad musicians. They're somewhere kind of in the middle. Not mediocre. They can toe the line. They can carry their own. I guess they're good. David Foster might say, "Good is the enemy of great." But I guess they're good musicians. They're not exceptional, but they think they're beyond exceptional and whatever, and they're too good to be in any of these bands, and they want to play with people who are way above their capabilities, and it doesn't work out for them all the time, and then they're sitting home and they're just tearing shit apart and telling other people that this sucks and that sucks, kind of like in the bedroom guitar player video. So it's kind of a continuation of that. So those are your three main bitter people. But the whole reason that this came to my mind was, as any of you in this area, like I said, not a lot of my viewership are from Canada, let alone here in St. John's, Newfoundland. We recently had a club close here that a lot of us were employed to play. Toll's Timeout Lounge. It's the second time now it's closed. I actually dedicated a whole video a few years back. The last time it closed, it was because of the damages of COVID. And first things they closed down here were bars. It was the first thing. First thing, as soon as there's a little bit of an outbreak, bars closed. You can only have restaurants with duos. And now that has got to be a duo. If you don't have a duo in there, and they've got to play Brown Eyed Girl and at least one Irish song, or you'll be fine. That was COVID regulation. It really wasn't, but that's how I saw it. But anyway, it reopened under new ownership. I'm not going to really dig into why it closed or who the owner was. The people that know why or played there, we know why it closed and what happened, and that's it. I'm not going to go through that. But a music, I don't know if it's really a friend or not, but somebody I know through music, whose band plays there, had went over, didn't realize it was closed, and seen the sign in the door that the building was now for sale. Not the actual building, but the unit from the building was for sale or lease. And that they had a sign, there was no alcohol left in there. And everybody jumped on the old thing, wondering why. Some people fucking bashed it because that's what they do. But one individual had to come in, and he comments the same comments like he's fucking one of the elite musicians who's played every gig in the province and has toured the world. Thinks he's probably up there with the Craig Youngs of the world, okay? And who's from here, and not. His comment was, I've seen the decline of this bar over the last 10 years. No, you didn't. It only started with COVID. Because before COVID, we were still averaging 400, 300 people a night. Slow night was 250. Through various bands that he played in, and then after a while, he stopped playing there because the club went with more economical options. So that was a bit of a slap in the face to all of us. That was like a bitter old man comment because, and here's why he's bitter. His band was actually fired from the venue. Not that they didn't get back, they were actually fired with bookings still on, with dates still on the books. They were fired. And that's how my band, Urban Legends, got in there. Because this guy's band got fired. We did our audition. We passed the audition, we got the phone call, and we were given that band's weekends because he fired that band. He specifically told us what he didn't want in his club, behavior-wise, and setlist-wise. It was all free range if we kept to classics, but didn't want us going off and doing obscure heavy metal songs because he has a lot of regulars who don't like that. And this is what drove the other band out of it. Shortly after that band was fired from that venue, this person who made that comment got fired from that band because of his abilities. And for literally going off the rails with his playing and fucking up a big time opening slot gig for an international touring band, classic rock band that have been around for 4 years and really did muck it up apparently. So he got the old heave ho. And ever since then, he's been commenting on pretty much anything I post musical, and it's the same shit. So this individual messages me on Facebook and asks if we lost any gigs, and I said we lost one, and we were supposed to play Boxing Night. He goes into a whole rant about how, when he was, there, it started to dwindle. Yeah, if it started to dwindle when you were there, it might have had something to do with your band. Because most of the bands that were left over, and I'm going to name the bands now, because none of these bands are economical fucking options. You had Dick and the Ballpoints, you had Misconduct, you had Tequila Rocking Birds, you had Sticks and Stones, and you had us. There were a few other bands that were playing there. The Stragglers, there was a couple more, I can't remember their names because they were new coming in. But anyway, sorry, I apologize. I don't mean to be that guy. Not that you're insignificant or I wasn't paying attention. I'm just old and stupid. None of those bands are economical choices. And I know that because you told me how much you were getting paid when your band was there. And my band, I can't speak for the rest because the old guy who owned the bar at first went by years of how long you played there. Okay, years of service. I don't know if I call it. You're getting paid literally $150 less a night than the lowest paid band out of that bunch. Okay? And just for argument's sake, we were kind of in the middle. Right? I think we were the fourth out of all those for pay. Anyway, you were getting paid less money. But because of your bitterness and your mouth running it and being negative and being bitter, people read that comment and that was damaging to bands like us, to bands like Dick and the Ballpoints, Misconduct, Tequila Rocking Birds, all those guys who are not Sticks and Stones playing for free. I can tell you that now. I know that for a fact. Okay? I even know what some of those groups were getting paid because we were told at the end of it by somebody who was there, worked there. So this is where that comes from, and this is like this whole bitterness towards music. It's got nothing to do with anything but yourself and your own attitude and what you're doing. So maybe if you hauled up your socks a little bit and and I've seen this guy play live dozens of times, and you played your solos like in key, even if you're not playing what's on the records. That doesn't really matter in your cover band, not to me. or a lot of the people that are on the floor dancing, if that's what you're playing in dance clubs and you're playing top 40 stuff, you know what? Just play it in key for fuck's sakes. And it's the same thing with the guys that get booted out of bands. They're in a band 1 minute and then they're out and then they're shitting all over everything. Um, Keep your mouth shut and just play in the bands. Keep your expectations where they are. Realize your own level of musicality and play with those people. Have fun. You're not, because this is your problem, is you're trying to start off at the top of the hill right away because you think that's the level that you are. Everybody plays a shithole gig in their lifetime before they get to, like, I mean, Tolls was the grand stage. When it was in its peak, everybody and her nan tried to get into that fucking bar. And it was really funny, as I said in my other video, when people didn't get in there, it was like, oh, I don't want to play there anyway. Yes, you did, because it paid well and you got to play in front of 400, 300 people. So it's just being bitter and you're causing trouble for everybody else. So I wanted to just talk about that whole thing. And now I'm going to do a rebuttal on the bedroom guitar player's video because there's one guy that really, he made a comment. I didn't post it. I have my comments put on held for review because I got a lot of those. The guys that I'm talking about in this video that are shit talking, they're coming out of the woodwork now, and they're like a month late to the party because they couldn't get their own heads out of their asses or something. It was by a guy named Stuart Miller. I'm gonna call you out, Stewie. And he said he had to turn the video off halfway through the video because he was watching a guy slag people off for slagging people off, and it was basically hypocrisy. No, I'm calling people out. There's a difference. I don't shitpost on people's videos. I have a really, really hard time with any form of bullying, whether it's social media, it's written, it's physical, it's verbal. I really have a hard time. I struggle with it. I don't believe in it. I don't subscribe to it, and I will not tolerate it on my own channel. And if I'm in public, I will not tolerate somebody doing it. I'm that pick on somebody your own size person. From your comments, Stuart, a few things. I'm guessing if I were to be stereotypical here or to offer a summation, you're probably one of these people that goes into the bar and is like, oh, he played a regular D major when that was supposed to be a D minor 7th times 3 divided by 4. Or he doesn't play it the way I play it, so it's wrong. Or you're talking to your girlfriend all day long about, well, I got a 1987 reissued 1957 Stratocaster. It was a good year. You know, you're that guy, probably. And you don't like being called out. There is a difference in shit knocking somebody and calling things out. I'm 51 years old. I've been going through this since the day I picked up a guitar. And there came a point in my life when I had to say to myself, well, I actually didn't say it. Another guitar playing friend of mine said it. Why do you get nervous when another musician walks into the bar? Why do you feel like you're not as good as they are when you're playing the same fucking notes? It took me a while to get over it. And if you're not playing the same fucking notes, if it sounds good, it is good. And but I've been a part of that abuse for the 30-year journey that I've been on playing. And this is where the red light fright comes from. This is where playing sometimes in front of people comes from. And I'm just tired of it. Like, nobody has the right to take something you enjoy away from you and cause you not to want to go out and play. I had some really great comments on that video where people said, you know, they'd only been playing a few months, a few years, and they're out already playing in front of people. That's how you get good. That's where the relationship with music just blossoms. And playing with other people, I'm not going to necessarily say better musicians, but people that are more experienced and people that have bigger repertoires and things like that, licks and chords. And if you jam with those people and you learn something you didn't know yesterday, or you learned something you didn't know half an hour ago, that's where it is, and that's what it's all about, and that's what it should be. We should never put down our guitars because somebody makes you feel small, Stuart. I'm well over 6 feet tall. I'm 234 pounds, and if I saw somebody my size picking on somebody 5'10", weighed 120 pounds, you know what? I'm going to go up and say, why don't you try that shit with me? Not because I'm a hero. I might get my ass kicked. but at least it's somebody the same size as that guy getting his ass kicked. Um, that's it. That's all I'm gonna say on it. And oh, there's a few words. I don't know how old you are. I didn't go back and creep your fucking profile or anything. There's a few words you need to Google and learn the actual meaning for. Because if you're gonna say them, you should know like the meanings of them. Everybody likes big words. Like gymnasium is a big fucking word, right? So learn the meaning of what you're saying and then say it, right? Otherwise, breathe through this and keep this shut. That's what my old man always used to say to me when I was acting up or being a real shithead. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening to my rant, if you indeed listened. But at least I got it out there. Have a great Sunday.